Okay. Remember when we did the report, we had the when I did my computer program, the Astro program, it lists the planets in order. And so when we made the chart for doing the aspects for each sign, for the sequence of aspects, we put the planets in order of the sign, which one was first, second, third, fourth, regardless of what sign, just put them in order. Well, this is the order that your progressions will come. So when you look at this planet sort, here's the progressed sun, here's the natal sun at 1325 Cancer. And as it goes along, it's going to make a 30-degree aspect to the midheaven. It's going to make to the ascendant and make a ascendant in Virgo. It's going to make a 60-degree aspect to the ascendant. Then it's going to make 60 degrees to Pluto, and 120 to the north node. Then it's going to hit the Mercury in Gemini. So that's only 30 degrees. Then it's going to hit. So while it goes through Cancer, it's not going to do that much. It will, but as soon as it goes into the Leo, when it gets into Leo, you can see it's going to square to Saturn and Neptune, and then it'll go into Mars. Then it gets into Virgo, it's going to start squaring the Mars. So you start to see the sequence in which these things happen. So after it's the Jupiter, it's going to be Uranus, Mars, Moon, Saturn. So you're going to get the order of your soulful, the stages of your spiritual tests as you're growing are going to come according to each planet and the sequence they're coming at. So we're not going to have time to go through all of it, but basically as the sun's going along, it's going to hit, it's going to bring each of these planets, it's going to power each of these planets in turn and send the energy there. And even a 30-degree aspect in progressions, it still sends energy and make that focus be encouraged a little bit, and bring a mental or emotional focus in. But what I'm looking at for the first 60 years of life, or 67 years of life, is going to wait till the progressed sun gets on the ascendant. Wow. By the time the progressed sun gets on the ascendant, this person will have worked to accomplish things, to achieve things through life, kept worked in the outer world, been something, had their security in the world, had their stability, had their money coming in, they had their friends. And then little by little, yes, I don't want to do, I'm running around too much, I'm working hard, I don't fit in. And by the time the progressed sun, it's almost like Saturn, but the progressed sun comes down out of the 12th house. In the 12th house, you're learning how to let go. You're losing the enchantment of the power of things. You're going to see, it's not worth it. It's not, what am I doing this? I'm running around doing, the power comes in the endings and the completion and the transcendence of these other things. And by the time it hits your ascendant, the progressed sun is empowering your identity to do something for yourself in spite of your worldly status. Like your career could still be there, but you need something for yourself at that point. And for this person, when it conjuncts that ascendant, it's also conjuncting Pluto. So you know when this happens, which is, that's 22 degrees, so 13 Leo's 30, 13 Virgo's going to go 60, and so this wouldn't have happened yet, 60, and then you add another 9 degrees, so at about 69, her progressed sun, or this progressed sun is going to hit that ascendant, and certainly that's the time when you want to live for what you want to live for, not just maintaining career. You don't want to be working that late or maintaining a job forever. You want to get your own personal life built up a little bit more at that time, but it also could bring the soul much more aware. If you're working spiritually, you can bring that soul right up to your identity. Like I have it hitting my eyes, see my deeper points, not my identity. It challenges that. Here it's hurting her image, so she's going to start identifying a lot more potentially to her inner soul, to her inner peace as it comes through. But it can be that her identity just gets charged up by an inner presence or inner confidence. And then in a couple of years, that may fade down a little more. I don't have more time to do what I'm going to do. It moves on from that. Sample someone from China. And this sun starts at 29 degrees of Cancer. So in the first year, went from Cancer into Leo. So until 30, 31, she was going through the Leo phase in the 8th house. And I went through the Virgo phase. So from the sun, being the best kid, whatever, to having to analyze and think what I'm doing and figure out what, and maneuver where she's going. And the Virgo theme comes in as being empowered. And as it did, the sun would hit Venus. My heart is empowering what I want. I need to get what I want. I need to go for what I want. That sun would hit the Venus. But after it hit the Venus, 9 years later, it will hit the Pluto. So there'll be a strong love, emotional, financial thing, and then there'll be some confrontation that threatens it about what's right or wrong, and it's going to empower that Pluto and Uranus for 2 or 3 years. then it's going to build up to her, to the midheaven, up to the peak of status in life. So this is the opposite of me. I'll never be really well known in my life because I'm down in, but I won't be the high profile. That may come after I'm dead. But like her chart starts in the 8th house with strong social values. And with Jupiter there too, generally good for business. And it's going to do it and set up some business setup things to go with. But by the time it gets up to the 10th house, she's got to prove she's done something. So this is at 60, this is going to be 69, about 69, 70. She wants to be in control, having the world the way she wants, and she wants to be functional and in control in her own world. It's not going below the horizon, it's going up to be out in the world, and where am I going to be? What am I going to do? And it's everything in her life is encourage her to prove something out in the world, to accomplish something, to achieve something, to build up a status or position, and to accomplish things more and more. And preferably things of social value, of conscience, being the 8th house. But it could be business, it could be inheritance tied. There's so many ways these, when you break it down into specific signs, houses, there's a lot of different ways. I'm trying to get the main current, so you're watching, get the main things anchored in, you see this main puzzle. So this person's sun in Leo, sun in Cancer in the 8th house. That's business, that's family business, whatever. But it builds up to the progressed sun coming up to Libra in the 10th house. That could tie it up to a rich marriage or inheritance, or who knows. But the sun comes up, and it's not making her more going a hiding away and being insignificant and not doing something will not make sense to her. It's like, how do I build up to the next plateau, to the next thing, to build up to the next achievement? It's building up. Her attitude's building up to the midheaven all the time. And then once she gets past 70, the later she'll be living in the style she built up for herself. She's not going to leave it. It's not going down into the 12th house and over the ascendant. That is the 10th house. Anyone with their sun 7th, 8th, 9th house would generally be moving that direction. Okay. Sample 3. I didn't even bring out the trans. Let's go back a minute for a second here. Yeah, okay. So with her chart, as we're seeing that general theme, Cancer, Leo, Cancer into Leo to Virgo to Libra, further her life, maybe into Scorpio. It's going through 8th, 9th, and 10th house. Inheritance, causes, business, sharing, trust, understanding, principles, what's right, what's wrong, what you can do, what you can't do, to accomplish things, hopefully, that she would like with Venus, getting money, living in a style that she wants to live in. She's not going to want to be isolated when she's older. She's going to want to be doing things and active, probably working till she drops. But the sequence of her stories, her sun is down the last degree. So it's going to go into Leo. And the first thing it does, the first year of her life, it's going to be the first 2 years of her life is squaring Mars. So she had a rough early bringing. She has the Mars square the sun. So if you have an aspect in your chart, like here's the Mars square the sun, the progress on a 2-degree orb, there's going to be 4 years where that sun is going through that. And it's going to be manifested in life. So the sun can make the aspect. In this case, the sun's at 29 degrees. By the time it gets to the one, it moves to the exact aspect. So the anger, or the frustration, or the aggressiveness around her when she was born increases for the first 2 or 3 years until that progressed sun hits the Mars. And so the Mars gets accentuated. The souls see what's up. Well, this is for a young baby. So you don't often, you can't, it's hard to see exactly progressions as the soul evolving when you're young, because things seem so unfair. But you do see things happening that are going to be very formative, that happen according to this. We're still going to be looking at things from the ego, worldly nature, and wondering how this fits into the spiritual soul evolving through that. Okay, so we'll take the next one. Sample 4. Okay, 4. Here we go. We're going to do everybody's. So this is another Leo, July 31st. Happy birthday tomorrow. Okay, so here we go. Starts with the sun starts in Leo, up in the 10th house. Ta-da! Who has to be in charge? Who has to run the place? Who's got to be the authority? That sun and the moon, their planets are mostly about the rise. They're not about where am I living? What am I going to do in life? What am I going to accomplish? It's up in that achievement level. But it evolves. So progression evolves through Leo for first 23 years, 7 degrees. They move through, it goes into the 11th house. So it's important. Friends, peer pressure, knowing things, being noticed, associating things, their creative force and power would have come out in those ways, and her soul would have going behind that, within that. So then it shifted into Virgo at 23. Started to be a little more fussy and picky, a little more cerebral. Thinking and analyzing the living. Just the Virgo themes coming in around the friends. But that's progressive moves along at 12 degrees. Let's see, 12 degrees. Okay, 12 years. And 23 is 23, 33, 45. 45. At about 45, her progressed sun went over Venus, empowering her emotions and her Venus, and then went into her 12th house. Shortly after, it empowered the Pluto, the confrontation, and the great empowerment of the emotions and the desires of what I want, and then the confrontation. I can't have that, I'm not having that as she gets towards, now it's 67. So this is all somewhat contemporary coming in here. Then it hits Uranus, where it powers the events, but it's in the 12th house, which is, I don't fit into where I'm going. It's coming more about a dedication or spirituality that's developing. And the sun's evolving this, so one grows out of what one expected to do in one's life. But when it hits the ascendant, one gets charged with who I am and who I'm supposed to be. And that's tied up to relationships, to sharing, to identity, to appreciation. So she has something accomplished just natally in her chart. I mean, this is a great astrology chart. Look at the sun in the 10th house conjunct Jupiter, moon in the 8th house. It's opposed Neptune. So yeah, there's confusions around family, around resources and stuff, and dependencies. But at the same time, that's really deep analysis of these things, deep understanding of these things. And her sun up in the 10th, I have to accomplish something anyways. I have to come from somewhere. So this is a person who left the country she came from and built up another world and built up a world for herself in her own Leo way. But the progressed sign going along puts the emphasis on friends and completing things more than on the status and the position. Putting up with what has to be dealt with, dealing with what has to be, but that voice goes on for a certain amount of time until it hits the ascendant. Ta-da! And that's the work with. So it hits the ascendant at 7 degrees, ascendant's at 6 degrees. So that's at about 50, starts at about 60, 59, 60. It's in there. So you can approximate the timing. In the process, if you go deeper into this, you're going to see from this chart, there's the sun at 7 Leo. It's born hitting the midheaven around career, so empowers the career. But at the same time, the sun's saying, well, there's an inner voice going on at the same time. Then it hits Saturn. So then there'll be, it goes, her Saturn's in Aries, it's going to oppose the Saturn. No, it's going to trine the Saturn and conjunct to Jupiter, trine Saturn, and 30 degrees to Venus in conjunct Jupiter. When you just go through this planet sort, and as you do that, but still there were difficulties. Her empowerment was the father to understanding things. So it goes through the Saturn and Venus, Jupiter challenges. So years each with Saturn and Venus, they're all kind of tied together. So about 3 years, this would go on, and that would have been, well, we were looking at that. No, it would be 6 times. So yeah, so these aren't necessarily the bad aspects. Even good or bad aspects, I wouldn't even use it. You're bringing up the planet as if they're like a rulership starts to be, that issue becomes important to be guided by that rulership, guided by doing the right of that planet versus the wrong of that planet. That's the guidance that you need to get from working with these things. So as the sun goes into Libra, as the sun goes over the ascendant, the need to be appreciated and to share ideas is going to be stronger and stronger.